is called hypothesis testing.
So, our objective is to find the evidence to support our alternative hypothesis, whether it is true or not. So, let's start our journey!
Trying to escape, leave the shade and find the sunshine, baby. Let me light the way, away from here. I said no way, this bridge can hold our weight. So let me light the way, away from here.
Now I'ma tell you like Lou told me, if cash rules everything around, or leave. And I'm not.
We the best music. Another one. DJ Khaled.
Yeah, you're looking at the truth, the money never lie. No, I'm the
I think the average price of cleanser in the store is RM20. How about you?
I think the average price of this cleanser is more than RM20.
Let us see the price by choosing several different brands of cleanser in this store.
Let's go.
Let's go!
yeah. Oh, 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 I'm the one. Oh, 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 I'm the only one. Oh, 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 I'm the one. Oh, oh, I'm the only one.
For one sample test, we want to see if we have enough evidence to say that on average the price of facial cleanser is more than RM20.
Hypothesis is we assume that the average price of the facial cleanser in Watson is RM20. But for the alternative hypothesis, we assume that the average price of the facial cleanser is more than RM20.
Therefore, this is one tail test.
Level of significance is 0.05 and the confidence interval is 95% in the SPSS.
The sample mean from the output table is RM22 and 78 cents and the p-value is 0.225.
The SPSS output table, the p-value is 0.225. Since it is one tail test, so we need to divide it by 2. The new p-value is 0.1125.
Comparing alpha and p-value. P is more than alpha, so we do not reject the null hypothesis.
We can conclude that we do not have enough evidence to support that the average price of facial cleanser in Watson is more than 20 ringgit.
You see, I was nothing more than a girl who wished for something different, watching her dreams from a distance.
For PET sample test, we want to know if the average price of items at Aeon B is cheaper than Jaya Grocer.
We will observe the price of few items such as food, toiletries, detergent and many more from both outlets and compare the average.
You see, I'm better, faster, stronger, I'm happier by my side. You see, I'm better, faster, stronger, I'm happier by my side.
The type of t-test that we use here is paired sample test because we are using two sets of data that come in pair, which is the price of item between the Jaya Grocer and also AMP.
Additional is the average price of items in Aeon B is equal to Jaya Grocer. The H1 is the average price of items in Aeon B is cheaper than Jaya Grocer.
Therefore, this is one tail test.
Level of significance is 0.05 and the confidence interval is 95% in the SPSS. The sample mean for the price of items in Jaya Grocer is 10 ringgit 34 cent, while in Aeon Big is 10 ringgit 46 cent. It means that the average price of item in Aeon Big is more than Jaya Grocer. So the p-value is 0.527. From the SPSS output table, the p-value is 0.527. Since it is one-tail test, we need to divide it by 2. So the new p-value is 0.264.
Comparing alpha and p-value is more than alpha. Therefore, we do not reject the null hypothesis.
In conclusion, we do not have enough evidence to support the average price at Aeon Big are cheaper than Jaya Grocer.
Well, you done me and you bet I felt it. I tried to beat you, but you're so hot that I melted. I fell right through the cracks. Now I'm trying to get back. Before the cool done run out, I'll be giving it my best.
I think the average price of the woman's shoes is same as men's shoes.
I don't think so. The average price of men's shoes are more expensive than women's shoes.
Okay, never mind. We can do some tests to prove whether it's more expensive or not.
Test? What kind of test?
We call it independent sample test.
We use independent sample t-test to see if there have enough evidence to prove that men's sports shoes are more expensive than women's sports shoes. The null hypothesis is the average price of men's sports shoes is equal to women's sports shoes.
The alternative hypothesis is the average price of men's sports shoes is more expensive than women's sports shoes.
Therefore, this is one-tail test. Level of significance is 0.05 and the confidence interval is 95% in the SPSS.
The sample mean for the price of men's sports shoes is RM247.33. Meanwhile, the price of the women's sports shoes is RM238.
On average, a man's shoes is expensive than women's shoes. From the SPSS output table, the p-value is 0.816. Since it is one test, so we have to divide it by 2. So the p-value is 0.408.
We have to compare between p-value and alpha, and we found that p-value is higher than alpha, so we do not reject the null hypothesis.
We do not have enough evidence to conclude that, on average, the price of men's sports shoes are more expensive than women's sports shoes.
We feel so happy since this is our first time hang out together out of the campus after having a lot of assignment. When we are observing the grocery price in Aeon Big, one of the workers approached us and asked, "What are you doing here?"
Then we explained to the worker that we want to do our assignment. However, the workers really said to us, "You need to ask the permission first."
So sad.
So, what are the value that we gain by conducting this project anyway? It is we become more careful in choosing and buying products. Which one is more worth buying? Cheaper price and higher quality.
After conducting the project, we realized that we need to ask permission before observing the product from any store.
To be young and in love in New York City.
In this store,
Do not know who I am,
Call
just
it
know
as
that I'm good as
independent
you're here with me.
sample
To
test.
be drunk and in love in New York City. Out into morning coffee, burning through the hours
What
talking.
shoes man?
Is the
I
average
like me
of
better when I'm with you.
We use independent sample. Tak payahlah next
I like me better when I'm with you.
This what
I knew from the first time. I stayed for a long time. 'Cause I like me better when
Enough.
I like me better when I'm